Catalonia, Spain. There is a fresh twist this hour amid the ongoing political crisis there. This since the banned referendum, which took place exactly a week ago on October the 1st. The country has now witnessed several demonstrations calling for Spanish unity and dialogue to resolve the crisis. Well, on Sunday, thousands of pro-unity Catalans took this to the streets there in Spain to condemn what they call the hijacking of the political process by an independence movement. Take a look at those crowds there. Many of them chanted slogans saying Catalonia is Spain and together we are stronger. According to some of the local police there, around 350,000 people took to the streets of the capital of Barcelona, of Catalonia, to express their opposition to any declaration of independence from Spain. In fact, an organizer of the rally said secession will hurt Catalonia. All right, to get perspective on this story, let's go straight to the area in question. Let's go to Joel Whitaker, security analyst on the ground there in Barcelona, joining us now, as well as another journalist from Barcelona, Halle Kettner. Thank you to both of you for joining us. Joel, we'll start with you. What has the mood been like there in terms of the protest? Peaceful, or has it been chaotic?
No, yeah, absolutely peaceful from what I've seen. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of people here to see. Now, the mood seems quite jubilant, and yeah, very sort of very positive indeed. If any outburst of violence, I mean, that may change throughout the day, but certainly from what I've seen so far, it seems super cool.
All right, Joel, stand by. Let's also bring in Halle Kettner, a journalist from Barcelona. Certainly the crisis continues there. We also understand Mariano Rajoy saying that if needed, will need to take drastic measures when it comes to implementing more police out there to prevent the secession.
Yeah, that's right. They still refuse to dialogue, to sit down and talk. And instead, the Spanish government comes with these threats of increasing the repression. So yeah, the thing is tense down here. Yeah.
Let me also ask you, in terms of that region, you know, we understand it's in the northeastern part of the country, a little bit more wealthy, brings in a lot of tourists, and certainly we can understand the economic benefits there. Is that one of the reasons why you think leaders in Spain don't want Catalonia to sort of split off and separate from the rest of the mainland, given what we've seen in Europe with even Brexit? I mean, is it really a question of a numbers game?
Well, it certainly could be. From Catalonia's side, it's not about money. From Spain's, they haven't gone out to say that it's a money issue, but yeah, it could be, sure.
All right, let's also get in Joel into the conversation. Joel, you've been there on the ground tracking this. I mean, it's been a week now, and fortunately or unfortunately, you know, things really are not any clearer than they were a week ago when many people there went to those polls. And we remember some of the situations where there was utter chaos. You also mentioned things are a little bit more friendly. What are you picking up there from the ground? What are people saying in terms of dialogue and really the next steps moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue all week has been on all sides to remain calm, you know, not to push any sort of any violent demonstrations. Particularly, obviously, in the light of last weekend where we saw a lot of violence. Nobody here wants to return to that. And so all week, really, the dialogue on all sides has been to remain calm. You know, of course, you know, go out and demonstrate. We've seen quite a few demonstrations this week, but they've all been pretty much quite peaceful. And up until the Parliament convenes, I think it's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, and then we were likely to get a decision from Puigdemont at some point after that. Up until that time, you know, people are just being told to sort of just remain calm and wait out for a decision.
All right, Joel, stand by. Let's also bring another journalist there from Barcelona. We have Fanny Fascar joining us as well. Let me sort of pose this question to you. I understand not everybody in that region wants to separate from Spain. Certainly that is the majority in terms of why they're out there protesting, but there are some folks who do want to have Spain united. Is that correct?
Right now, this demonstration is a altogether demonstration that is calling for unity between Spain and Catalonia.
Right.
The demonstration started this noon, and it's very peaceful right now, actually, at this point. But of course, the picture is much divided if you would only look at Catalonia alone. Here, people are much divided over the question whether Catalonia should become independent or not. While, according to pollsters, if you look at entire Spain, around 15% of Spaniards only call for a split in between Catalonia and Spain. So if you look at the entire country, of course, the voices of those who do want a united Spain as it is and make sure it remains as it is bigger. But as I say, the picture is much different. If you zoom in only on Catalonia here, the society is very much divided over this question, as we have seen over the referendum results, as we have seen that the voter turnout was very low.
Right.
Even the ones who did turn out, they say yes independence, but many do not want independence, at least not within the realm of an illegal referendum.
Let me also ask you there, Fanny, when it comes to the reason why many of the Catalan nationalists want to go their own separate way, have their own country, is it really a question of subsidizing the rest of the country, given that the northeastern part of Spain is typically wealthier, they have their own traditions, their own history, their own culture? I mean, is it really a question of they are simply tired of funding the rest of the country, or is there a bigger factor in question?
It's definitely a mixture of both the economic reason that you just pointed out there, that some are just basically fed up with the impression that they should be paying more towards Madrid than Madrid pays to Catalonia. Of course, it's a very affluent region, but let me tell you, I've been on a world trip investigating nationalism worldwide in many countries, and a lot of people here feel their traditions are at stake, their language is at stake, and they feel that's reminiscent of the times of the decades when the dictator Franco was ruling Spain, and where a lot of traditions, languages, etc., everything was prohibited. So people fear this could happen, even though that fear doesn't really have a real basis here, because, as I say, I mean, this is a European Union country. Catalonians are very able to live their traditions, but sometimes fear is bigger, and nationalistic emotions are bigger than real facts, basically.
All right, let me bring in Joel back into the conversation. Joel, is one of the reasons perhaps there is a little bit of a trepidation, perhaps a little bit of a fear for this to happen, is given what happened in the UK with Brexit. I mean, this draws a lot of parallels to the whole Leave and Remain camp. I mean, is this one of the reasons why perhaps Spain's Prime Minister does not want independence for Catalonia?
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of fear amongst the local shop owners, not just big business. I know that banks have been talking about potentially pulling out of Catalonia, but certainly the small businesses too, the shops and the cafes, have expressed some fear that obviously splitting from Spain could affect their bottom line. So there's certainly a lot of fear amongst the business community.
All right, and let's also get some a reaction from Hallie Kettner as well, joining in terms of next steps for Spain, given this crisis. Now, it's been a week since referendum took place. Now, these protests that are continuing in various cities across Spain. What are the options out there on the table in terms of what's going to happen? You know, this is a back and forth game that's been going on, if anything, in the near future.
Yeah, let's just make it clear that the split is not that big actually in Catalonia, because Catalonia already has a clear mandate for independence actually, which was achieved in the parliamentary elections on September 27th in 2015. The Catalan government didn't go out to implement this mandate, and instead proposed a single issue vote on independence, which was the referendum held on Sunday. So actually 25% of the Catalan people went to have their say in that elections 2 years ago, which was the most voted elections ever in Catalonia.
So this is not something new. This is something that's sort of been brewing for a while, and now perhaps it's sort of coming into the front line.
And they actually have the legitimate mandate for independence. They already achieved it two years ago. So this referendum on Sunday, it actually, well, it didn't come as a surprise that the yes won. I think it's important to bear this in mind, that the Catalan government are not doing something crazy out of the air, trying to put up with Spain. They actually have the mandate from the people voting 2 years ago in the parliamentary elections.
And we also understand the Prime Minister there, Mariano Rajoy, considering perhaps triggering Article 155 to, if things get beyond a point where it is out of control. We understand right now the protests are peaceful, but perhaps getting in more forces, getting in more police, and really using some of those constitutional powers. Do you think at that point things could take a turn for the worse?
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, we already have more than 10,000 police agents on Catalan soil, which is increasing the tension, actually. They were sent in to maintain the law and order in the referendum, and they're still here, and now they're extended their stay until the 18th of October. So yeah, there's this hanging threat from the Spanish government towards the Catalans, and they're threatened by applying their Articles 155 on Tuesday if Puigdemont goes out and declares the independence, which many ask for him to do. Today we saw at the rally in Barcelona, we saw many people in the demonstration calling for Puigdemont to go to jail, actually. So I don't know how peaceful it was, the demonstration. That was the shout that was more present during today's demonstration in Barcelona. It was actually the people asking the Spanish government to put away Puigdemont.
All right, and let's get some quick closing comments from all of our panelists. Let me go to Joel Whitaker, also standing by there covering this. Joel, closing comments, final thoughts as we wrap up what is going to be a very crucial few hours and few days in Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now it's if it all goes well today, which it seems to be going that way, then I think obviously the next look forward will be after 6 o'clock on Tuesday. If Puigdemont decides to declare independence, and as Lieutenant has said, it causes serious dramas, and we are likely to see a lot of police on the streets. However, that's not necessarily all that likely. So then we're looking at, what it is that Puigdemont says. Is it facilitatory and not actually, has it actually got any teeth in the situation? In which case, then the people who were following him, the people that have been asking for independence, what their reaction will be. And I think that's probably more likely. That's probably what we're more likely to see after Tuesday. We're going into Wednesday and Thursday, the reaction from Puigdemont's camp.
All right, Fanny, let's also get your perspective on that. Your next steps, closing comments. Fanny, go ahead if you're still with us.
Yeah, Sunday, sorry, what was your question? I couldn't hear it acoustically.
No, I apologize. That question to you is that sort of in the coming days and, the course of the week, what do you think is going to happen as we sort of wrap this up? Some closing final thoughts from you.
Yeah, well, definitely there are more demonstrations that we're going to see. Actually, initially a pro-independence demonstration was announced for Monday, but now that the parliamentary session is cancelled for Monday here in Catalonia, it's unlikely that pro-independence demonstration is going to happen. I think really, as others have said in this panel as well, Tuesday is pretty much a crucial date. Everybody's looking at what Puigdemont, the president of Catalonia, exactly is going to say, and whether this is going to carry on for a few more days. On the other hand, the problem is, if there's no clear decision on Tuesday, the question is just for how long, basically, the people who are pushing for independence will stay calm, because at some point, they also expect, of course, an answer from President Puigdemont that he's going to declare independence, as he would. He said he would within 48 hours after the referendum, but it's still not the case after almost 1 week.
All right, Fanny, and let me really quickly go over to Heli as well to get some closing comments on this. A very important week there coming up in Spain that really could seal the fate of those in Catalonia.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that we need a dialogue. It's obvious that this cannot go on like this, and whether Puigdemont declares independence or not on Tuesday in the parliamentary session, the two parts need to sit down and talk, and that's what Catalonia has been asking for the last 7 years. And these states also, let's sit down, let's talk about this, and Spain refuses to sit down.
All right, the big question is, will those talks happen? Will those dialogues take place? And how peaceful will these protests have to be? And The big question is, will he in fact deploy those forces, triggering in these constitutional powers? Thank you to all of our guests for sharing your perspective on this story from Spain.